English habits. Speak fluently, live freely. Introduction. Imagine you have something important to say. Maybe you have a meeting, or you want to talk to someone new. When you try to speak English, your mind becomes empty. The words you know in your head don't come out. You feel sad, shy, and maybe you think you will never learn. You might think you are not good at languages, or that you have not studied enough. You might have tried many apps, books, and quick courses that promised you would speak well fast, but you are still in the same place. What if the reason you feel stuck is not because you don't try hard, but because you don't have the right way to learn? What if learning English is not about learning more words or perfect grammar, but about something more basic? For a long time, people told us that learning English is like school. You study it, take a test, and then you are done. We focus on grammar, lists of words, and how to make long sentences. But this way often makes us feel like we know English, but we cannot speak it. The truth is, to speak English well, you don't need to study grammar or remember many words. You need to do small things every day that help your mouth and mind think and speak English easily. It's about making English a normal part of your life, not a hard task. Think about how you learned your first language. Did anyone give you a grammar book? Did you learn word endings? You learned by listening, by copying, and by doing it every day. You made it a habit. And that is how you will learn English. This book will show you how to learn English in the same natural way. It's about changing how you think from studying to living English. The main idea, the thing that helps you speak well, is making English a habit. This means doing small things every day on purpose. These actions help your brain and your mouth use English without thinking. It's about making English as easy and normal as brushing your teeth. Why habits? Because wanting to learn comes and goes. You might want to study for many hours one day, but what happens when life gets busy? Habits are always there. They are the small things you do often that make a big change over time. They don't need you to always use your willpower. They make things automatic. A skill is something you know how to do, like knowing the rules of a game. A habit is something you do without thinking, like playing the game. Speaking English well is not just knowing the rules, it's having the habit of speaking it. Think about brushing your teeth. It's a habit. You don't wake up and think, "Do I want to brush my teeth today?" You just do it. You do it when you wake up, it's a routine, and you get clean teeth and good health. We will use the same strong idea for learning English. One of the biggest problems for speaking well is translating in your head. This silent killer makes you slow and worried. Making English a habit helps you stop this by helping you think directly in English, like children do. In the next parts, you will find a simple, clear way to build your own English habits. You will learn how to find and use things that happen every day to practice English. You will learn how to do small, easy things every day that train your mouth and mind. You will learn how to not be afraid of making mistakes and stop translating in your head. You will build the muscle memory for speaking English naturally and make English a happy part of your life every day. This is not about adding more hours to your busy life. It's about adding small, strong English practices to what you already do. We will show you how to start with just 10 to 15 minutes a day and build up your strength and trust in yourself. Our goal is not just to help you pass a test or get a job. It's to help you speak English well with confidence and be free to talk. This will open doors to many chances, new friends, and growing as a person. Are you ready to stop trying hard and start speaking? Are you ready to change English from a hard task to a habit you like? Then let's start building your speaking skill, one habit at a time. Remember, doing things often is better than being talented. Having a good plan is better than just wanting to do something. And speaking well is a habit you live every day. 1. Make English a daily habit. Learning a new language is like learning to walk or talk when you were a baby. You did not sit with a book to learn how to move your legs or make sounds. You just did it every day. You fell down, you got up, you made sounds, you tried to say words. It was a normal part of your life. That is how your brain learned your first language. It was something you did every day. Many of us, when we try to learn English as adults, do it in a different way. We think of it like school, like math or history that we need to study. We buy books, go to classes, memorize word lists, and try to understand difficult grammar rules. We might spend hours one weekend trying to learn English and then not think about it for a week. This is like trying to water a plant by flooding it once a month. Does that plant grow strong? It might live, but it will not grow well. It needs a little water every day. English, if you want to speak it well and use it easily, also needs that daily, steady watering. It needs to become something you do often, not just when you have time or feel like it. This is the main idea of making English a habit, making English practice a normal, automatic part of your day. It means stopping studying and focusing on small, regular actions that train your brain and your mouth to use English without you having to think hard. Think about what you do every single day without fail. You probably brush your teeth. You might make coffee or tea. You might look at your phone. You might take a short walk. You do these things even when you don't feel like it, right? They are habits. They happen by themselves. They are part of your daily life. They do not need a lot of effort to get done. Now, why is this so important for learning English? Because feeling motivated is not always reliable. It comes and goes. Some days you might feel very excited to learn English, ready to do anything. You might spend hours learning, but then life happens. You get tired, you have other things to do, and that excitement fades. Suddenly, you do English less often, then you stop. You might feel bad or like you failed, but it is not your fault. You were counting on feeling motivated, and motivation is not a good thing to depend on for something that takes time and effort. A plan of daily habits, however, is like a steady machine. It keeps working even when you do not feel motivated. When English becomes a habit, you do not need to wait for a big burst of energy or a new idea. You just show up and do your small, daily English action. This regular action builds energy. It creates a rhythm. It starts to feel normal, like brushing your teeth. The secret here is the power of small, regular actions. We often think that to get better, we need to do big, important things. We need to spend hours learning, take fast courses, or move to a place where people speak English. But that is not always possible, and it is often not the best way. Imagine trying to build a beautiful garden. You would not just dump a big pile of dirt and seeds in one day and expect a garden full of flowers. You would plant small seeds, water them every day, pull out a few weeds here and there. Slowly, day by day, the garden grows. English is the same. Spending just 10 or 15 minutes every single day doing something focused in English is much, much more powerful than spending 3 hours learning once a week. Because those small, daily actions constantly make the connections in your brain stronger. They train your mouth to make the right sounds. They teach your mind to understand and answer in English. Over time, these small actions create new paths in your brain. They make English feel less strange and more natural. It is like making a path through a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and easier it becomes. This change from studying to habit also changes how you see yourself. When you are studying English, you are someone who wants to learn English, someone who is trying to learn English. It means you have a goal for the future. But when you make English a daily habit, you start to become someone who lives English. You are someone who speaks a little English every day, who listens a little every day, who thinks a little every day. Your daily actions show this. This change in how you see yourself is very powerful. It is not just about learning a skill, it is about becoming a person who uses English. This makes the process feel less like hard work and more like a normal part of who you are. So, what is the main difference in what happens when you treat English as a skill to get versus a habit to build? When you treat English as a skill to get, you often focus on learning facts. You might learn many grammar rules and words, but you find it hard to use them when you need them. You might think in your own language and then change it to English, which is slow and awkward. Your progress feels like climbing a very steep hill, with a lot of effort for small steps forward, and a big chance of falling back if you stop climbing. You might feel like you are always learning, but never truly fluent. The result is often a lot of knowledge, but little ability to use it, leading to feeling upset and stuck. On the other hand, when you treat English as a habit to build, you focus on doing things regularly and making it part of your life. The goal is not just to know English, but to use English. This way of doing things trains your mouth and your brain to respond quickly. Instead of changing words in your head, you start to think directly in English for short times. You become okay with making small mistakes because the habit itself is the most important thing, not being perfect. The result is a slow, steady improvement in your ability to speak and understand. It feels less like climbing a hill and more like walking a path that gets wider and smoother with every step. You gain confidence by using it regularly, and speaking fluently happens naturally because you are living the habit. The knowledge you get is used right away, making it stick and grow. Now, how does the idea of a habit loop, a signal, an action, a prize, work for building daily English practices, and why is knowing this loop very important for succeeding in the long run? A habit loop is the science behind how habits are formed. It has 3 parts. 1. The signal cue. This is what tells your brain to do something automatically and which habit to use. It can be a time of day, a place, a feeling, or something you do before. For example, the signal to brush your teeth might be finishing your morning coffee or going to bed at night. 2. The action routine. This is the actual thing you do, the habit. For brushing teeth, it is picking up the toothbrush and brushing. For English, it could be speaking a few sentences, listening to a short audio, or reading a short part of a book. 3. The prize reward. This is the good feeling or result that helps your brain remember this loop and makes it worth doing again. Brushing your teeth makes your mouth feel clean and fresh. The prize for an English habit could be the happiness of understanding something new, the small joy of using a new word, or simply the good feeling of keeping your promise to yourself. Knowing this loop is very important for long-term success with English because it lets you plan your English habits on purpose. You can create good signals to remind you, choose simple actions that fit into your day, and find or create prizes that make the habit feel good. Let's say you want to practice speaking English for 10 minutes every morning. Signal. Your signal could be your alarm clock going off, or the moment you sit down to eat breakfast. You might even set a reminder on your phone. Action. Your action is to immediately pick up your phone and speak for 10 minutes. This could be recording yourself talking about your day, practicing a conversation, or repeating phrases from a lesson. Prize. The prize is the good feeling you get for finishing your daily task, the small improvement you notice in your speaking, or perhaps even the feeling of having won the morning by doing something useful before looking at social media. If you do not have a clear signal, you might forget the habit. If the action is too hard or takes too much time, you will struggle to do it. If there is no prize, your brain will not see the reason to do it again. By understanding and using the habit loop, you change random attempts at English practice into a planned, automatic process. This makes it much more likely that you will keep doing it day after day, week after week, until it becomes a normal part of your life. This is the main point of making English a habit. It is not about having perfect grammar or many words right away. It is about building a regular, daily connection with the English language. It is about training your mouth and your mind to think and speak in English without the difficulty of constantly changing words or the fear of making mistakes. It is about making English an easy part of your life, just like brushing your teeth. When you accept this idea, your way of thinking changes. You stop seeing English as a big hill to climb and start seeing it as a path to walk every single day. You are no longer just someone who studies English. You are becoming someone who lives English. Your daily actions, those small, regular practices, are the building blocks of this new way of being. They show that you are on the path to speaking fluently, not just dreaming about it. This important change from seeing English as a subject to seeing it as a daily habit is the most powerful step you can take. It opens up a better, more enjoyable, and eventually, a much faster way to truly speak fluently and live freely. This understanding gets us ready to look at the practical steps for fitting these powerful English habits into our everyday lives. 2. Consistency is key. Learning English can seem like a very big hill to climb. Many people try to climb it very fast. They might join a quick class or study for many hours every day for a week. They want to reach the top and speak well very soon. But learning to speak English well is not a quick race. It is a long trip. Think about it. Has anyone learned to play music perfectly in just 1 month? Or become a great sport player in only a few weeks? No, that does not happen. These things need time, practice, and doing them often. Learning English is the same. When we try to learn too much in a short time, we get tired and sad. We might learn a lot for a few days, but then life happens. We get busy, we stop wanting to learn, and we stop studying. Then, when we try to start again, it feels like we are back at the start. This is very upsetting. Feeling stuck and not getting better, even when trying hard, often means we are missing one important thing: doing it. We often want to see results quickly. We see ads that say, "Learn English in 30 days," or "Speak like a native in 1 month." It is easy to believe these ads because we want to speak English well soon. But these quick ways do not work for a long time, because our brains do not learn and remember things like that. Real learning, especially for a language, happens when we hear and use it often and for a long time. Studying hard for a short time might help a little, but it does not make strong, lasting connections in your brain that help you speak well. Doing things often builds power. Each small thing you do every day adds up. It is like giving a little water to a plant every day. Over time, the plant grows strong. If you give it too much water once a month, it might not get enough water between those times. Small, regular actions create a strong, steady force that leads to real, lasting progress. This brings us to an important idea: forgetting. Have you ever studied hard for a test, and then a few weeks later, you can hardly remember anything? That is forgetting. Our brains are amazing, but if we do not use information, they tend to let it go. We forget things fast. For people learning a language, this is a big problem. If you study English hard for a week and then do not speak or listen to it for a month, you will forget a lot. When you try to start again, it feels like you are back at the beginning. You might think, "What is wrong with me? Why can I not remember anything?" The truth is, nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is just working the way brains work. But here is the good news: doing things often is the best way to stop forgetting. When you use English every day, even for a few minutes, you are telling your brain, this is important. Do not forget this. It is like a gentle push that keeps the information fresh. You are not trying to put new things into a brain that has forgotten the old things. Instead, you are building on what you already know, making those connections stronger. This daily practice means you do not have to start from nothing each time. You are always building, always moving forward. Even talking for a short time, listening to a song, or reading a few sentences in English each day keeps your mind ready for English. It stops your skills from going away, making learning much easier and less upsetting. One of the best things about doing things often is that it helps make speaking automatic. Think about brushing your teeth. You do not think much about it, right? You just do it. Your hands know what to do, and your brain does not need to plan every step. It is like a habit. This is what we want for speaking English. When you practice often, your brain and your mouth start to learn English patterns. They start to work more on their own. You will not have to stop and change every word in your head. You will not have to think so hard about grammar rules. This means you need less mental effort. When speaking English is automatic, it needs very little effort. This means you can speak more smoothly, with more confidence, and with less worry. You can enjoy talking to people because you were not always trying to find the right words or make the right sentences. Doing things often teaches your brain to use English without you having to try so hard. It makes English feel less like a hard task and more like a natural part of how you think. The nice thing about doing things often is that it does not need a lot of time or energy. We can focus on small wins. Instead of trying to study for 1 hour every day, maybe you try to say just one English sentence to yourself or a friend. Maybe you try to listen to one English song. These small tasks are much easier to do. They do not feel too hard, and each time you do them, you feel good. This feeling of success is very helpful. It makes you want to keep going. This is where making a new habit by linking it to an old habit is very useful. It means joining a new habit you want to start with a habit you already do every day. For example, if you drink coffee every morning, you can add your English habit to that. You could decide, after I drink my coffee, I will read one English news headline. Or, as soon as I wake up, I will say one English sentence like "Good morning, world." Because you already do the first habit, the new English habit becomes much easier to start. It is like your normal routine helps you do the new thing. This makes starting your English practice easy, which is key to doing it often. Doing things often is not just important for learning English, it is the base for all learning. You can have the best grammar book with perfect lessons and useful examples. You can have a big list of the most common English words. But if you do not use them often, they will just stay in the book. They will not become how you speak and think. Really speaking well comes from using the language. Doing things often makes sure you are always using what you learn. It helps you change language from what you know to what you can do. It connects understanding English with actually speaking it. Without using it often, even the best learning books are like tools you never use. They just sit there and do not help you build anything. So, let us ask ourselves, how do we often not do English learning often, and what are the bad results? Many of us start learning English with lots of energy. We might study for hours for a few days, feeling excited, but then life gets busy. We have work, family, friends, or maybe we are just tired. The English study times get shorter, then they stop. We might feel bad or sad, but we tell ourselves, I will start again next week or I will catch up later. The problem is, this pattern of starting and stopping makes us feel upset. We feel like we are always trying to catch up. We do not see slow, steady progress, so we lose our want to learn. We might feel stuck, like we are not good enough or that learning English is too hard for us. This not doing things often leads to wasted effort, always feeling like a beginner, and losing confidence. We end up thinking, maybe I cannot learn English, when really, the problem is not doing it often. Can we look at something else, not language learning, to see how small actions every day lead to big results? Think about growing a garden. You cannot just plant a seed and get food right away. You need to water it often, make sure it gets sun, and maybe add some food for plant sometimes. If you water it a lot one day and then forget it for 2 weeks, the plant will likely get sick. It might not grow, or it might even die. But if you give it a little water every day and make sure it gets the right sun, it will grow slowly and give you beautiful flowers or tasty vegetables. This is exactly how speaking English well works. Each day, taking small actions, like speaking a few sentences, listening to a short talk, or looking at a few new words, is like watering your language plant. These small, regular actions build up over time, making strong roots and leading to a good ability to speak English. The key is that the actions are small enough that you can do them every day, and they are done. Often, building strength and growth over time. What is the mental block that makes us want quick results? It is often because we want things right away. We live in a world where many things are instant messages, instant food, instant fun. We get used to seeing results quickly. When it comes to learning, this not wanting to wait can be a big problem. We want to feel like we have succeeded now. The idea of a long, slow process can feel scary or even boring. We might think, if it will take so long, why should I even try? This is where understanding that speaking well is a long trip, not a quick race, becomes very important. When we know it is a long journey, we can focus on the small steps we take each day, not the end goal. This helps us see the progress we are making, even if it is slow. It makes us feel less pressure to be perfect or to speak well right away. Instead, we can focus on the habit itself, doing it often, knowing that speaking well will happen later. Accepting that it is a long trip helps us be more patient with ourselves, to be happy with small wins, and to keep going, even when we do not see big changes right away. It changes our goal from speak well quickly to build a habit of using English often. Now that we know why doing things often is the base for speaking well, the next important step is to create a way that makes doing this not just possible, but easy. We will see how to make your own English habit. 3. Think in English, not translate. Stop translating in your head. This is the best way to truly speak English well. It means you need to teach your brain to live in English, not just talk in it. You can build this strong new habit by doing small things every day. These small actions will train your mind to think straight in English. Do you ever stop and feel stuck when you try to speak English? You have an idea, it's clear in your mind, but when you want to say it, it feels like a traffic jam. This is the translation habit. It stops many people from speaking fluently. Even after studying for years, speaking can still feel hard and slow. Let's look at this problem. When you translate, you do two things. First, you think in your own language. This is normal. Then, your brain must find the right English words and order them correctly. It's like trying to drive two cars at once. It's very slow and doesn't always work well. Fluent speakers don't translate. They think in English. Translating makes speaking slow. It makes you feel nervous. You might make mistakes because words don't always match from one language to another. You can sound like you are reading, not talking. It can make you feel like you are not good at English. But the problem is how you are trying to speak, not your English skill. It stops your ideas from coming out easily. Think about how you learned your first language as a baby. You didn't use a book. You learned by hearing and seeing. You connected words with things. When you saw a dog, you heard dog. You didn't think about another language first. You just linked the sound to the animal. You learned to say happy when you felt happy. You didn't think I feel good in your old language and then change it. This direct link is how you become fluent. You can do this too. Thinking in English is not magic. It's something everyone can learn. The habit of translating is something we learn, often from school. We learn rules and words, but not always how to speak without thinking. We learned to translate because it seemed like the best way to start. But we can learn a new habit, thinking straight in English. This is where English habit formation is important. Thinking in English is a skill like riding a bike. It needs practice. It builds new paths in your brain. Imagine your brain has a path for translating that is easy to use. The path for thinking in English is new and hard to find. Every time you practice thinking in English, you make that new path a little wider. Soon, it becomes the easy way. How do you start this new habit? Don't try to stop translating all at once. Start with small, daily actions. These actions will gently guide your brain to think in English. They are like small steps that make the new path. Let me tell you a story. I was at a party. Someone asked me, "What do you do?" My mind went to translate. What do I do? I thought in my language. Then I looked for English words. I am a student. I study computer science. It was very slow. By the time I said it, the person had moved on. I felt bad. I knew the words, but getting them out was hard. This happened many times. Ordering food, asking for directions, talking to people felt like a big effort. I was so worried about making mistakes that I couldn't talk easily. I was translating so much that I wasn't really talking to people. I realized the problem was my habit of translating. I knew I had to stop translating and start thinking in English. This was a great relief. It meant I could fix it. It wasn't about learning more words or rules. It was about changing how I thought. I started with very small things. When I saw a chair, I just thought chair in English. When I walked, I thought, I am walking. I am walking to the park. The sun is shining. It felt strange at first. My brain wanted to go back to translating, but I kept trying. I made it a game. I named things in my house and my mind. Table, lamp, window. When I made coffee, I thought, I boil water. I put coffee in the cup. I pour hot water. These were tiny actions. They didn't feel like studying. They were just small moments where I chose to think in English. Translating in your head makes you feel left out of conversations. You miss chances to share your ideas. You can sound like a robot. It can make you feel shy and avoid talking. This stops you from getting better. Think about how children learn. They hear language all the time. When a parent says, "Look, a bird," and points, the child connects bird to the animal. There's no translation. They learn directly in the language they hear. You can do this too. Make connections in English for yourself. Don't use your own language as a translator. Build a direct link from your thoughts to English words. The habit of translating is often strong because of how we learn. We learn rules and lists. This is useful, but it doesn't help us speak easily. It's like reading about swimming but never getting in the water. You know the rules, but you can't swim. But habits can change. By practicing thinking in English, you build a new, stronger path in your brain. It takes time, but it is possible. What are the first, simple steps you can take today to start thinking in English? Start small. Pick one thing. 1. Name things around you. Look at an object, like a cup, a door, or a phone. Just think the English word for it. Cup, door, phone. Do this a few times each day. 2. Describe what you are doing. When you do something simple, think of the English word for it. Eating, I am eating. Drinking, I am drinking. Walking, I am walking. 3. Think of simple feelings. If you feel happy, just think happy. If you feel tired, think tired. Connect the feeling directly to the English word. 4. Make simple choices in English. When you decide what to drink, think water or tea. When you choose clothes, think shirt or sweater. These are not hard. They don't take much time. They are small moments where you choose to use English in your mind. They build the habit of thinking in English. Each time you do one of these, you make the new path in your brain stronger. It becomes easier for your brain to use English directly. This process trains your brain and your mouth. It makes English a natural part of how you think. When you think in English, you pause less. Your sentences flow better because they are made in English. You feel more confident. You change from a translator to a speaker. Moving from translating to thinking in English is key to speaking fluently. It means making English a part of you. Build the habit of thinking in English, one small step at a time. It's a journey that starts now. By doing these simple things every day, you are changing your brain. You are making English easy and natural. You are communicating without limits. 4. Create a language routine. We all know that feeling. You want to get better at English. You really do. You might have tried different apps, bought books, or gone to classes. You try hard, sometimes very hard. But then life gets in your way. You lose your motivation. You miss one day, then another. Soon, you are back where you started. You feel a bit sad, maybe even like you lost. It is like trying to grow a nice garden, but you only give water when you feel like it. Some days you give the plants lots of water, but then weeks go by and the plants get dry. This is why we need to talk about making an English habit. Think about your morning. Do you wake up and think, should I brush my teeth today? Probably not. You just do it. It is automatic. It is a habit. And this is the secret to speaking English well for a long time. It is not about having more motivation. It is about having a plan, a habit that works even when you do not feel like it. Motivation is good when you have it. It is like sunshine on a cloudy day. It makes us want to learn and practice, but sunshine does not last forever. Habits, on the other hand, are like the steady rain that helps the garden grow every day. They are the strong base for speaking English well. When you make an English habit, you do not count on a short burst of energy. You build something you can trust. Something that will help you move forward a little bit each day. And the good thing about this way is you do not need many hours each day. You do not become good at English by studying for a very long time all at once. You get better by doing small things almost every day. Imagine growing a strong tree. You would not dig a big hole once a year and expect it to grow well. No, you would give it a little water every day. You would take care of it. Small things done every day do this for your English. 10 or 15 minutes each day, done often, is much better than studying for 3 hours once a week. These small things, done many times, teach your brain and your mouth in ways that long study times do not. They help you remember without thinking, and they help you speak naturally. Now, the big question is, how do we do this? How do we add these small, strong English actions into our busy lives? The answer is to use what you already do. Look at your day. What do you do without thinking? You wake up. You brush your teeth. You eat breakfast. You go to work. You make coffee. You eat lunch. You look at your phone. You go to bed. These are things you already do. We can add our new English habits to these old, trusted ones. This is where the way habits are made. The simple but strong loop of trigger, action, reward comes in. Let's look at it and see how it works for learning English. The trigger is what starts it. It is what tells your brain it is time to do something. For English practice, this trigger needs to be something you do every day without fail. Think about what you already do. Maybe the trigger is when you finish your breakfast. Maybe it is when you sit at your desk to start work. It could be the sound of your alarm in the morning, or even when you make your first cup of coffee. The important thing is to pick a trigger that happens at the same time each day. For example, you could say, after I put my empty coffee cup in the sink, I will listen to a short English news clip. The trigger is putting the cup in the sink. The action is the thing you do, the English practice. This is where the small, daily things come in. What can you do in those 10-15 minutes? It could be reading one page of an English book out loud. It might be listening to a short podcast. Perhaps it is practicing saying 5 new English words. Or even just talking about what you see around you in English for a few minutes. The action needs to be clear and not too hard. So, instead of practice English, say listen to a 5-minute English conversation. The reward is very important because it tells your brain, good job. Let's do that again. The reward makes the habit stronger. For English practice, the reward does not need to be big. It can be a simple feeling of success. Maybe you feel good because you learned a new word. Perhaps you feel proud because you did your habit. It could be the good feeling of understanding a sentence you heard, or simply knowing that you are getting closer to speaking English well. So let's put it together. Let's say your trigger is while my toast is cooking. Your action is listen to one short English song and try to understand the chorus. Your reward is feeling happy because I liked the music and understood a little more. See how that works? You have linked something you already do, toast cooking, with a small English action, listening to music, and a good feeling happiness and understanding. Now, let's look closer at why people often fail when trying to build these habits, and how we can fix those problems. One of the biggest problems when creating a habit is the fear of not being good enough. Many people think they need to be perfect before they start. They think, I cannot speak English yet, so why try to listen to a podcast? This is a mistake. Remember, the habit is the way to get better. You do not need to understand every word in the podcast. The goal is to hear the sounds, the rhythm, and common words. Even hearing a few words you know is a success. The habit is made to make you better slowly. So, the trigger might be when I get on the bus. The action is listen to 5 minutes of an English story, and the reward is feeling like I am going to new places with the story, even if I only understand some of it. Fear often comes from expecting too much too soon. By focusing on the small, regular action, we make it easier and less scary. Another common mistake is trying to do too much too soon. We get excited about making a habit and we make a plan that is too big. I will listen to a podcast, read a chapter, write in a diary, and practice speaking for an hour every day. This will make you tired. Remember the tree idea. We give it a little water every day. Start small. Maybe your first habit is just 5 minutes of listening to English when you travel. Once that feels easy and automatic, truly a habit, then you can add another small action, like reading one part of a book out loud before bed. It is about adding slowly, not making yourself feel overwhelmed. The key is to make the habit so easy that you cannot say no. So, how do you find the perfect triggers? You need to watch yourself carefully. Watch. For a day or two, just pay attention to what you do automatically. What things do you always do? Connect. Once you find a trigger, decide to connect your English action to it. Say clearly to yourself, when something I already do happens, I will English action. For example, when I open my computer in the morning, I will read one English news title. Be clear. Vague triggers lead to vague actions. Instead of when I sit down, say when I sit down at my kitchen table for breakfast. What are some really good small, daily actions that work well in a habit? Listening. This is often the easiest to fit in. You can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, music, or short videos while traveling, cooking, cleaning, or exercising. The key is to listen with purpose, even for just a few minutes. Try to find words you know, or guess what things mean from what you hear. Reading, like listening, reading can be done in short amounts. Read a news article, a blog, a book chapter, or even social media posts in English. Just a few sentences or a paragraph at a time. Speaking. This might seem harder to do, but it is important. You can practice speaking by copying, listening to someone speak English and trying to say what they say, copying their sound and how they speak. You can do this with audiobooks or videos. Talking to yourself. Say what you are doing, thinking, or seeing in English. Okay, I am walking to the kitchen. I need to get a glass of water. The floor is a bit cold. Repeating words. Learn a few useful phrases each day and practice saying them out loud. Words. Instead of trying to memorize long lists, learn one new word or phrase each day and try to use it. You could write it down, say it out loud, or use it in a sentence. The most important thing about these actions is that they are done regularly. This regular doing is the real plan. It is not about having the best app or the most advanced book. It is about showing up every day and doing that small action. When you do this, you are not just learning English, you are teaching your brain to think in English. You are building the automatic connections that let you speak without always changing words from your own language. Think about it. When you first learned to ride a bike, it felt shaky and hard. You probably fell a few times. You had to think about every move, balance, pedaling, steering. But you kept trying. You fell, you got up, you tried again. Soon, it became easy. You do not think about balancing anymore, you just ride. That is what a regular habit does for your English. It takes that thinking effort and makes it a skill you do without thinking. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria was a very good student. She knew so many grammar rules. She could easily explain the difference between different past tenses. But when it came to speaking, she stopped. She would pause, look for words, and often changed sentences in her head, which made her sound slow and not natural. She felt stuck. She was motivated, she studied hard, but she could not speak English well. One day, she decided to stop thinking about grammar rules and start building a habit. Her trigger was her cup of tea in the evening. So her new habit became, when I sit down with my evening tea, I will speak for 5 minutes about my day in English. At first, it was hard. She made mistakes with words. She forgot words. But she kept doing it. Some days she could only say, "Today, I went to work. I saw my friend." Other days she could talk a bit more. The reward was simple, the warm tea and the small feeling of success that she had spoken English, even if it was not perfect. After a few weeks, something good started to happen. She found herself thinking about how to say things about her day before she even sat down with her tea. She started noticing English words for things in her house. The 5 minutes slowly became 7, then 10. She was not changing words in her head as much. She was starting to think in English. The habit had taught her mouth and her mind. It was not about a sudden burst of wanting to learn, it was the steady, quiet power of a daily habit. Maria's story is not the only one. It is the story of what happens when you change from trying hard sometimes to doing things regularly. So, the real way to speak English well is not a secret method or a magic answer. It is the promise to do a habit every day. It is the choice to be there for yourself, every day, with small, Easy actions. By adding English practice to your life with a plan, you are actively building fluency. You are not waiting for it to happen, you are making it happen. This regular, daily practice is what changes English from a hard skill to a natural, easy part of who you are, helping you learn even more and connect better with the language. Conclusion. You came here to learn how to speak English well. You didn't just want more rules or word lists. You found a secret. Daily habits are the key. English is not a school subject. It's a part of your life. You build it every day, little by little. You can go from finding English hard to speaking it easily. This happens by building habits, not just by studying more. This new idea is the first big step. It changes English from something hard and stressful into something easy and natural for you. You will make English a part of you. Great job finishing this book. You have chosen a new way to learn English. You probably feel different now. Maybe you see that waiting for motivation to learn is like waiting for perfect weather to swim. It doesn't happen. You might feel stuck or shy to speak, not because you are lazy or not smart. It's often because you didn't have the right way to learn. We showed you a way, building habits. This is better than waiting for motivation, which comes and goes. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't study rules. You heard and spoke every day. It became natural. That's the power of habit. Now you have the tools and ideas to make English as natural as your first language. The most important thing is the habit loop. Every habit has 3 parts. First, the cue. This is a signal to do something in English. It could be waking up or seeing your coffee. Use these moments to start your English practice. Second, the routine. This is a small, regular English action. Make it small and do it every day. You could say one sentence, describe something, or repeat a phrase. These small actions train your mouth and your mind. Third, the reward. This is the good feeling after your practice. It could be feeling proud or happy you kept your plan. These rewards, big and small, help the habit stick. This daily action is the secret. It's better than studying a lot all at once. Your mouth needs practice, like a musician or an athlete. Repeating, listening, and copying sounds helps your mouth speak English well. Stop translating in your head. Try to think in English directly. Imagine your life with easy English. Imagine talking without stopping to find words. Imagine watching movies and understanding everything. Imagine traveling and talking to people easily. Your job chances might grow. This is more than speaking a language. It's about feeling more free. It's about having more choices and understanding the world better. English will give you confidence and help you grow. It's a skill for life. This is not about reaching a point where you are fluent. It's about always getting better. It's about living with English every day. What's next? Keep going. You have the system now. You know how to build small, regular habits. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start building your English habit system today. If you followed a 21-day plan, you are already making practice automatic. The first 21 days help create the habit. After that, it gets easier. Many people find that after 90 days of habits, English feels like a part of them. You chose to learn differently. You have the knowledge, the tools, and the power of habit. Believe in yourself. You can do this. Now live your English life, one habit at a time.